cafe, so it's perfect.
Oh, cool.
Well, hey everyone, this is Dija Henry, and you're watching The Inspired Cafe, and today we have a special guest, Greg Digneo. Did I pronounce that right?
Digneo, but yeah, close enough.
Digneo. Oh, that's
Yeah,
so not close.
it's very. I'm Italian. It's got a
That's awesome.
very Italian flair.
Say it again.
Digneo.
Digneo. Okay, I understand.
Yes.
I get all kinds of stuff with my name. It's surprising. It's just 4 letters, but so
I could.
go ahead.
I said I could imagine.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate this time with you. I'm so excited. I've been excited for weeks now. So Greg and I met online. You sent emails. I think I signed up for your newsletter.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, and then I just started asking questions because you invited us to ask questions, and you actually answered my questions. That was so wonderful, and it just really, it just spoke to me about that you were someone that actually cared, and that you would take the time to answer questions. And I really appreciated that. So,
no problem.
yeah, so today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your journey. My audience is full of creatives who are just getting started on, stepping out and, embracing who they are as creative people. So
Sure.
could you just, tell us what you do, a little bit of your story?
I'm probably kind of right around where most of your audience is, in that I'm just now stepping out into who I kind of really wanted to be. But I could get there in a second. I was an engineer in college, started a business in college, and it was like a technology business. It was we were installing and leasing solar panels and things like that. And then back in 2008, I started a marketing agency. I ran that up until about December-ish of last year, give or take, and decided that it wasn't like a strict hard line in the sand, like, okay, I'm going to do something else. But like at some point, I decided that I wanted to get back to start building a software company. And so that's where I am now, in that I'm in the very early stages of launching a software product. And so that's kind of, that's where I am at the moment. Software startup, if you will.
I totally understand. My husband's a web developer, so
okay.
We've lived the entrepreneurial life for 7 years now.
Yeah.
Almost 8, yeah.
It's interesting. It's a fun life to live, but it's also kind of one of those where it never turns off, and you're always trying to you're always really kind of trying to figure out who you are and who you want to be, and that search, I feel like that search never ends. So that's where I got to where I am now, pretty much almost starting over.
Wow.
Which is fun, yeah.
So what are the benefits of, this challenge as entrepreneurs? That it really digs deep. It makes you dig deep. It just affects every part of your life and who you are, and challenges you in this holistic way. It's not like you can clock out and come home.
That's exactly right. I love the grind. I really do. I really enjoy it. Right now, so what happened was there's a couple reasons why I went from marketing agency, which was kind of successful. We had, there was 12 or 14 of us working together, and it was, we were working with really cool clients, and it was successful. But I realized, for a couple of reasons, that why I wanted to start over, and like how this kind of helped me to figure out who I wanted to be, was one, to work for us. I mean, you had to be a $50 million company, because it's just hard for a small company to really hire a marketing agency, right? Like, your services start at like $25,000 or $30,000 a month for everything that you want to do to be able to help people. And that kind of bothered me, right? Like, if I wanted to be able to help like smaller companies and smaller businesses and people who are just like where I am now get off the ground. And so you can't do that with marketing services. You can't, let me correct this. You can't profitably do it with marketing services or with like a client service based business like a marketing agency. and do it well. There's a lot of shitty marketing agencies out there and marketing consultants who will do it for you, but they're not going to do it very well. So that's why I wanted to start like something else.
So is there any way you could speak to how you, in that transition, if you had moments of fear or doubt, and kind of how you made yourself overcome it, or do it afraid almost, you know?
Yeah, I could tell you the other day, let's say Friday. So last Monday, so 10 business days ago, I was totally in doubt, totally afraid, wanted to shut down the whole thing, was just like, I'm quitting. This was like 2 weeks ago. 10 business days ago. I think you have to find out like why are you doing this? I could have just started another marketing agency and had a much easier job and a much easier life, but it kind of goes back to, why did I decide to do this? And that why became much more important to me than shutting down. So you just sort of grit your teeth. You get back to the reason that you started and the reasons that you wanted to start. And you just got to push through it. And don't be afraid to cry or to scream or to just let out a yell. I have a tennis ball that I throw against the wall, and I just threw it against the wall as hard as I possibly could a few times. Just go for a walk or a run, just sort of get out of your head for a few minutes. And it's totally normal to feel that way all the time. It's like that happened, like I said, that happened 10 days ago. It's not going to be the last time it happens this month rather.
Yeah.
So.
I think sometimes people think it's not normal to feel that way when you're trying to pursue a dream or do something that's hard or do something that a lot of people aren't doing.
Yeah.
You're like surprised that you feel like that.
Because like, I think you watch movies or you read books or whatever, or you read stories on TechCrunch or whatever your personal industry story is. And it's basically like day one, got started. Day, 6 months later, multimillionaire, multi-million-dollars in revenue, or 100,000 users, or whatever. Day 2 years later, got acquired by Facebook. Like that's all you see, and you don't see like the whole, you're up until 4 o'clock in the morning kind of thing, and you don't really read about that as much. It sounds much more romantic. You read about it, and it's much more romantic than it actually is.
Yeah. And well, we talked through emails a little bit. I'm an actor and filmmaker, and so it's fun to be able to write those stories and make it romantic, but it's real life. You should make a documentary.
Yeah. You want to be able to it's fun to hear about I guess in the same way, it's kind of fun to hear about like the story of the guy who moved out to Hollywood 3 weeks later, found his dream acting gig, and the end.
Right. Those people actually work for 10 years and then they're like, oh, you're an overnight success.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to get to your current company, but I wanted to ask you, okay, so I found this blog. I think you wrote it in 2012, I think the timestamp was, about you eating your grandma's meatballs and lost your appetite because things were so rough. I thought that was such a beautifully written post.
Thank you.
I had to respect the way you painted the picture from one writer to another. I really appreciated it. I wanted to ask you about that experience, if you could kind of explain the post and where you were and kind of the journey you took to the end of, what you wrote at the end of the post about what you discovered.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah. So what happened was I wrote that post in 2012, like you said, for Copyblogger, but the story actually takes place in 2008 when I was like kind of getting maybe early 2009 when I was kind of getting the marketing agency off the ground. So and so what happened was is I was just struggling to find customers and just struggling to find clients and struggling to get like real work, to the point where I think I mean I said it in the post, but like food doesn't taste good anymore because the only thing you're consumed about is how am I going to get that next client, or how am I actually going to make this thing actually work, or how am I going to get my ideas from in my head to viable, and to so that way uh, when people ask me what I did for a living, they didn't just roll their eyes kind of thing.
Right.
Um, so yeah, that's what that post was. That's what that post was about. And so what happened was I was trying everything and anything. Again, 4 o'clock in the morning, I would be trying Facebook ads or something like that. And what I found out was that, you, especially in the business space, you only need one thing to work. So for me, it was guest blogging and guest posting. And so as soon as I figured out that the one thing that I needed to work, I quit everything else, and it made, I don't want to say it made life easier for me at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where what I was writing about. Yeah, the one thing. You just
that's a great. Mm-hmm.
You just need one thing.
That's a great point, especially for creatives who we tend to be multitasking and multi-passionate and have our head everywhere. And I mean, I'm really discovering that now too. I was also trying to do everything everywhere, and actually our couple little emails that we went back and forth really challenged me to really focus and try to dig deep and understand like who exactly do I want to serve.
Sure.
And I actually feel a lot better because I was so stressed. And I've got 3 kids to take care of, and my husband and everything. And so I really think that's a great point. Find that one thing that works. So
mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, how do you balance work? How do you live and still work and maintain your relationships? And
that's a great question.
Pass. You want to pass?
I don't know if I do it well. I could tell you that I watch very little TV. I don't do like a whole lot of. The only thing I do recreationally for instance in the fall right now is I watch my Philadelphia Eagles football games, and I hang out with my family. Every now and again, I'll see my friends, things like that. But that's kind of about it. I'm terrible at it.
At least you're honest.
Yeah. I you know what though? Like I am so passionate about what it is that I'm doing at the moment that I don't feel like I miss things like watching TV or anything like that. My wife and I will schedule like dinner and stuff like that kind of thing, but that's about it.
Well, that's the most important relationship.
Right. Yeah. So we do schedule things like that, but I think but I'm really bad at it, and I think she would tell you that.
Well, it's important to as married to an entrepreneur, I know that it's something that you have to do it as a team. I have to support that. Like he's gonna be gone all weekend for like a hackathon this weekend, so I'll be like, I won't see him for 2 days, right. And I got to be supportive because I believe in what he's doing and I care for him, and I think it's got to be a team effort so that he can stay focused and feel happy and like he's doing the right thing for the family. And so I definitely understand that from the other perspective. So let's get to Birchfield app. Can you tell us a little bit about, can you tell us? You're working in the middle, whatever you can tell about what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell I'll try to be as open and as helpful as possible from what I can remember. So what happened? So like I was saying before, with the marketing agency, because you could only help people with money and a lot of money to spend, it seemed to profitably help them, that my real passion was like, how do I help people who don't have all that much money to spend? And so what I came up with was Birchfield, and essentially it's an app it's a software that helps people grow their email list through referrals. So it takes care of both driving traffic to your website and converting email addresses. So that way you as a marketer or business owner can get on with doing kind of the creative stuff that you want to do and have that process automated for you a bit. So that's really where that genesis came from, was how do I help people who A, don't have a whole lot of money, and B, don't have a whole lot of time at the moment. So that's really where it came from.
I think that's really awesome. And in this day and age, there's so many people starting businesses that don't have this background. So it'll be such a huge help. And then one of the last things I wanted to ask you about is why, I know this is really kind of basic, but why is it important to have an email list? I have a lot of friends who are artists and filmmakers and actors and photographers, and they are trying to do their business, and I keep talking to them about starting an email list. Is there a newsletter? You know, are you sending anything out? Are you So I would really like for you to just briefly explain, why is it even important to do this as a business owner?
So the reason it's important is because email marketing is still the most effective way to, one, get permission from people who want to hear more about you, two, build a relationship with those people, like just pretty much how you and I built this relationship, and then three, get them to buy stuff from you. Like that's really, I find for me, email marketing works better than Facebook ads, or Facebook in general. It works better than Twitter. It works better than LinkedIn. Pretty much every other thing that I could think of, it works. It's more effective, and it does that beautifully. So that's why I would highly recommend. So if you're, let's say, an artist and or a photographer or whatever, and do you think your photographers are selling photographs, or do you think they are actually like quote unquote wedding photographers?
I have friends that do both. Like one does senior pictures and weddings, and one wants to just sell her photography, and then some want to do service and product.
So let's take the one who wants to sell her photography then. If she has an email list of, let's say, 5,000 people, and she takes a picture of this beautiful sunset or whatever, well, she could just literally copy and paste that image into her into GetResponse or Aweber or MailChimp or wherever, click send, and 5,000 people can now see that image and purchase it. And it's just like, that's how effective it is. Same thing with the photographer who's in more of like a client service business. They can build that relationship with the bride or with the senior citizen or whoever over the course of 6 months. Now, it's not going to be like, oh, click email, here's my email address, let's try you out. It's more like, here's my email address, right? Because brides plan things out over, at least mine did, over 6 months, a year, whatever. And you could actually just get emails from them and just build that relationship and invite people to ask questions and things like that. And it's just the most effective way to do that, I think.
Yes. See, it can work for artists too. Hashtag boom. I keep telling them.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well,
you have a built-in audience.
Yeah, and you can get to them, because a lot of times on Twitter the feed's going, or on Facebook there's just so much stuff. Oh, it's so okay.
I think I have like, for my 2,000 Facebook follower or Twitter followers or whatever I have 2,500 give or take. I think if I post a link, maybe 5 will click to it, maybe 10 tops. But for a 2,000 person email list, I will get anywhere, like for the same link, for that exact same link, same headline and everything. I'll get anywhere between 200 and 250 people to click.
Wow.
Like very instantaneously. That's just that day. That's not over time. So it's 10 times more effective, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
That's awesome. Thank you for explaining all of that. So how can we, so Birchfield is what you're currently?
Yes.
Okay, so how can we, where do people go to find out more about this?
Birchfieldapp.com. Yeah, they could go to www.birchfieldapp.com.
Okay.
BIRCHFIELD app.com.
Okay. Yeah, I just pulled it up here.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I will definitely be looking at this myself.
Thank you.
As well, because I actually had this email list and I learned this lesson. I was the person that took business cards and thought I was supposed to make an email list out of them. And so I had this, so I was like, okay, I've got like 1,100 people on my email list and this is great. And then I started sending emails out and I really wasn't getting the engagement. And so when I finally learned and figured out that's not how you build your email list, I just apologized and told everyone, if you want to be on my email list, you can sign up for it over here. And so I just had a small fraction of the people sign back up, like a really 10%, really. But I was so happy, honestly, because they were engaged.
Right.
And they were, if I asked to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said 100 people wanted to hear from you. Like, that's awesome.
No, I think I did my percentage wrong. It was less than that.
Oh, okay.
But it was a small amount. And so, but anytime I sent a question out, I got a response.
That's
or
awesome.
it meant so much more. And so now it's growing and I created a little ebook and, you know, I'm learning all that stuff, but it's really worth it to have quality subscribers.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
People who care what you're doing. So
one of the things, like, don't get, you're gonna, like, when you start to go down the email marketing journey or any journey, you're gonna think about like what, like, you're gonna read about this person has 25,000 email subscribers, or this person has 150,000 email subscribers, and maybe you only have 100. But picture these 100 people. And would you be like, if you, as an artist or whatever, had a like you wanted to sell your photo or whatever it was, and you went to a gallery and put it and hung it up in a gallery, and would you be happy if 100 people came to that gallery just to watch that, just to see that one photo?
Yeah.
And most people would answer yes, right? So like, you have to make sure that when you're looking at the numbers, you actually remember that these are people who actually want to hear from you. So, so you know, 100. If you only have 100 email subscribers, that's amazing, because that's 100 people who want to hear from you.
Yes, that's awesome. Okay, I could ask a lot more questions, honestly, but I'm going
keep going.
Keep
going. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so really, one of my questions I think is really hard for creatives too is when you said something about getting it from your head and making it viable. And I think a lot of creatives have all these ideas and they get really frustrated because maybe it's about picking the right idea or the best idea or just how do I even get it out there? I just created my first e-course and right now I'm trying to figure out how do I configure it together so that people can use it.
So are they like, so let me ask you this. Is it like do you think people are doing this commercially or is it just for fun?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think of the people that actually we have. I think it's starting out. It's something with the vision of being commercial, I guess.
Okay. Then the simple answer is just pick something and see if you could sell it. Whether that's an ebook or like if you have an idea for a book or whatever, just go find 5 people and see if they'll give you $2 for this idea before you even write it. It doesn't matter how much money you make. That's not the point. The point is just to answer the question, will somebody buy this? If you can't find 5 people to give you $2 for your ebook, then don't create it. Then pick another idea and go try to sell that one.
Mm-hmm.
So just pick something, anything, and try to sell it. It doesn't, you're going to be wrong. It does, just embrace that. The first time you do it, I know you're going to be wrong, but that's okay, because then that means you're just closer to being right.
Okay. That's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. It wasn't that I had this brilliant idea for Birchfield and then I went and said, oh, look, I'm going to build this. I'm going to spend a year building this or whatever. It was that I sold it first. Actually, I tried to sell a couple other things first that nobody wanted, and before I was able to sell this. So that's how it starts. You always just try to sell it.
Okay, well let's get real, because
sure.
I definitely know that the personality of at least a lot of the creative people I know would feel really shy about trying to sell something that may be like an idea first. I mean, and it's funny because you have to, as a filmmaker. I'm getting ready to work on a new idea, and at this time I want to try to raise money and fund it properly, and you really have to just share an idea first. But it's really nerve-wracking. And I write for a marketing company, and we talk a lot about the personality of salespeople, and it just seems, how do you let me see, how do you overcome that when you may not tend to have that personality of selling something before it's actually like, here's the picture? But would you buy a picture of a sunset over Antarctica if I took it? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. There's a couple ways to do this. I will tell you that it's until you do it a bunch of times, it's never comfortable. Like, it's always going to be uncomfortable. But let's say, for instance, you want to sell we'll get back to your picture of Antarctica in a second, but let's say you want to sell your ebook or whatever. Well, you can actually, instead of spending whatever 40 or 50 hours writing your ebook, you could, or however long it's going to take, then you could, instead of doing that, just create an outline and just say, here's what you're going to learn. Is learning this important to you? Yeah. And then here's the breakdown of how this is going to happen. And that's it. Like, just try selling the outline, right? So it becomes a little bit more concrete. A sunset over Antarctica might be a little bit different. So I guess let's assume that they're going to have to travel to Antarctica and everything like that. So maybe to save money on actually making that trip, they could just sort of Photoshop a few things together and just say, hey, I'm going to deliver the real thing, but what do you think of this? Something like, just to put something into their hands. It's not the exact thing or whatever. And maybe, I also don't know a whole lot about photography, so I might not be totally good with this, but if you could kind of cobblestone, like take a picture of the sun or a sunset, an Antarctic landscape, put them together, even if it doesn't look that great, just to give to somebody and say, would you like this on a campus? Something like that. The real thing, really.
I'm over here smiling because that was really practical, and I really appreciate how practical that was. So I'm getting the idea that it's really about being able to convey your vision enough to somebody else so that they can catch the vision too.
Yep. When I sold Birchfield, I literally sold it to my first customer via Skype conversation, because we were talking about building email addresses and things like that. And I said, what if we did this, right? What if we got other people to refer, we created this ebook for them, and we're like, what if we got other people to refer this? Like, and we gave away a prize or something. And he was like, that would be great. Like, that was the entire thing. And then I kind of created a quick YouTube video mock-up of it. Like, that took 5 seconds that cost me $95. and 2 minutes of my time to really put together. It looked terrible. It looks absolutely horrible, but somebody could actually understand what it was that they just got it. So it doesn't have to look good. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to just convey what it is that what your vision or what your idea is.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, because sometimes with artists, if I wanted to create a video, because my medium is visual digital storytelling, I could easily get hung up on, I don't have lights, my sound is bad, oh my gosh, I need to rent a backdrop, and and it's really about it's being able to think a little bit, like step outside and say, okay, we're not being artists right now, we're being business people right now. And when you get that in order, then you can go have fun and be the artist. So I think it's really helping me understand.
It works the same way, like on this side too, as a software entrepreneur or whatever, because I haven't written code in a while, but I was an engineer, and I could still see, when I look at the code, I'm like, this is terrible. Like, why are we creating? And then you're like, oh wait, we're just trying to get something out right now. And so software developers, and I'm sure your husband does the same thing, he struggles with it as well. He's trying to build some beautiful website, and he could spend 100 hours creating like this perfectly designed site that functions masterfully, when really all he needs to do is take an hour just to cobblestone something together to create an image, right? It's so counterintuitive to, I need this to be perfect. I take pride in my work, and it has to go great, to how do I get somebody to actually pay for this before I make it perfect.
Yeah, that's actually something I know that he's learning too, because he does like app and like not website design, but the stuff behind it.
Yeah.
But that's something, and he's a musician. So yes, like he's just finished his first EP and was talking to me about more songs, and he's like, you know what, I just got to release a song at a time for a little bit, because I'm such a perfectionist. And I know that when he writes his code, he'll talk about like writing it clean and all this stuff.
Exactly.
I was actually an engineering major for a while.
No kidding.
At Purdue, I went to Purdue, and then I was going to go into mechanical engineering.
Oh, nice.
And then I just couldn't. I was like, I'm an actor, but my dad said I have to do something else, so I did kinesiology.
Okay.
Yeah, so I really liked that, but I always joke my dad's from India.
Right.
So I was being good little girl, listening to my father, and take my class and do my backup plan. I'm so glad I did, though. I'm really glad
everybody who so being an engineer, you typically get a lot of Indians in our class, and it's just, it's hilarious, because I feel like they're only options in life where they could either be a doctor or get a PhD in engineering. Like that was it. There was no other. Like what do you mean you want to be a lawyer?
It's so true. You want to be in agriculture? Are you crazy?
Yeah, like liberal arts, really?
Yeah.
So,
but are you first generation? Are you born here and you're?
No, I'm a third generation.
Third generation.
Italian American, yeah.
But very close to your family and
your
heritage. Yeah.
Yes, I mean I have 20 some odd first cousins who live within an hour and a half of my house.
Wow.
Yeah, we all live together. Like, yeah, we live near each other. We're like in the southeastern, like South Jersey / southeastern corner of Pennsylvania. Like, we all live there.
That's where the Dineos rule.
DeBruno's and Dineos.
Yes. Yeah. That's great. My mom's from Jamaica, so we have mostly. I think it's like 40 aunts and cousins and stuff all in Ohio. Okay. I love it. I
do too.
Yeah.
I absolutely do too. So it's been cool.
That's awesome. And it's also been cool talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. I had a blast.
Me too.
Is there anything else?
No, I mean, you're really fun to talk to. I mean, I had like, what's your favorite superpower? If you could have a superpower, what would you have?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. I really don't. Yeah, I've never thought about it once.
Really?
No.
Huh.
I haven't.
I think about it all the time.
Wow. I guess I'm not that creative. You would think like half of my shirts are super like because I work, you know, I don't have to actually get dressed up to go to work. My shirts are either sports, like, you know, Phillies, Eagles, or superhero shirts. Like that's my entire wardrobe. And I've never once thought about which superpower would I have.
You got to think about it. I think maybe that's because when you're in acting classes, like you're always like, be something else, be a tree, be a newborn, be a superhero. Okay. So, okay. Well, this was really great. And
yeah, it was. Thank you so much.
I will put the links in the description box and everything for people to find out more about you. Is there anywhere else that you want people to go to find out more about what you do?
No, because it's so new, I haven't really set up a Twitter account or a Facebook account yet. So
okay.
Just to the website is about all I got at the moment.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem.
Slightly unprepared.
No, it's that one thing. Remember that one thing?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. My one thing is email. So
yeah. All right. Well, I hope that we can, you know, do this again sometime, you know, after Birchfield takes off and
absolutely,
it's all like big and everywhere. And
thank you so much. Okay. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.